Okay, hi, it's me. Welcome to a series, hopefully, of Easter videos helping you to do the best you can in your Nat 5 and higher physics exams. I am not at the moment in a waiting area getting my car serviced. I am in a professional recording studio, so just to let you know. I have a few ideas which are clear to me because I've already been through this process, but they might not be clear to you, so here I am giving you advice. Expectation is important, right? See when your teachers gave you predicted grades on your report cards. Now these are grades which, well, I can only speak for myself. I predicted grades based on prelim results, plus how much homework the pupils have done recently, plus just how much they engage with the lessons, minus how naughty they are. Okay, it's a formula that we teachers use, and we come up with a number. Now, when I was at school, I was always quite nervous in the classroom. Okay, I was quite shy, so I just sort of coasted along. Most of my brain space was taken up with being worried about what people thought of me. Okay, and I didn't really engage that much. But on the run up to exams, I nailed down, like I really hammered into the coursework. I went through everything again and again and again. I made sure that I understood everything I read. If I didn't understand it, I asked a friend, I asked a teacher. I took it as a personal challenge, these exams, and that's how I recommend you take it as well, right? It's between you and the examiners, okay? And you have to prove yourself that you are the better person, right? You can deal with anything they throw at you. Anyway, as you can tell, I get a bit competitive about these things. So if your teacher, or I, or somebody predicts you that your grade is this, I want you to prove them wrong, okay? It's up to you now. So my teachers, we didn't do predicted grades when I was at school. But if my teacher predicted that I would get a C in something, I'd be like, nah, I'm not going to get a C in something, okay? I'm going to take that as an affront, and I'm going to get an A in that thing. And that's what I want you to do, okay? Prove me wrong, prove all your other teachers wrong, prove everybody wrong. You have to put in the effort, take it personally, and clear your calendar of clutter and put in the hours, and you will prove everybody wrong, okay? And you will feel great when you get your results. If you sit back and think, oh, my teacher thinks I'm going to get a C, there's no point in trying, you might not even get a C. That's part one of my advice. Part two is own your time. Now, I have a spreadsheet here. What I used to do was, on paper, I used to make a calendar. And down the left-hand side here, I would put all the days I have available to study, all the dates. So what is it? So Monday the 30th. So I put Monday 30th, Tuesday 31st, and then Wednesday the 1st, and so on down these two columns. And then after that, I'd put the hours that I would be willing to, or that I have free to study. And then you put in where your exams are. So I've already done one. So this is one I've already made up, okay? So 4 hours in the morning, block out lunchtime, dinner time, an hour for those. Judo competition, right? So you've got things, you put in things that you get family events and whatnot. And then you put in your exams. So I've got a higher maths exam on the 9th, let's say. I've got higher physics on the 14th. And I add up the total here, how many hours I have each day to study. All right, I've put 11 hours there. It's not an 8-hour working day when you're studying for exams. The night before an exam, take it off. Take a break, watch a movie, rest, relax, get an early night. Okay, because by then, what's more important is frame of mind and restfulness. So these are my predicted grades, and I've put priorities. So my predicted grade for PE was a D, let's say. So I put that top priority. I need to spend more time on my PE to get it up to scratch. Maths and physics are Bs, so they have a slightly lower priority, even though I might need them to get into uni. You need to take that into account as well. And then I give them a weight. So maths and physics, I've given them a weight of 1, English and biology a 2, so that means that I'll be spending double the amount of time on my English and biology and 3 times the amount of time on my PE. And then change that to a percentage using the formula times 100 divided by the total weight. So that's the percentage of my time. And I've counted up the total number of hours I'm willing to spend, or that God gives me to study. And then you put a formula in here, percentage times the total. Okay, so I'm going to spend 30 hours on maths, 60 hours on English, 90 hours on PE. Okay, because PE is hard and I need to get fit. And then you start blocking off these. Obviously you need to do your higher maths study before the maths exam. You need to spread them out. So I might do nothing but maths in the morning. So that's 4 across, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's already 40 hours. Is that going to be enough for maths, do you think? I suppose it depends how badly you want it. And then, I need to change that down to, I need to change that because that's a judo competition there. So it's not 11, it's 11 minus 3, which is 8. So that's going to change my total. And see how it changes automatically? 2, 6, 8. So I might put a maths study block in here. I'm going to copy that, I'm going to paste it. Maths. And then physics, we also need to see, maths and physics are quite close together. So you can't just focus on the first one. You have to share out your time. I'm going to put some physics ones here. Physics and physics. Okay, and that's what, 4 times 5, 20, that's 40. So we're already over with physics. And then these other things, English. Maybe do English here in the evenings. Okay, and maybe just do it like that. There, see, there's an example of what you might do. And that's good because you're not doing too much of one thing. And you're planning ahead. You've got physics coming up, you've got English coming up. Okay, so that should give you some ideas. I've been having a look at my spreadsheet and I've decided the weighting system is not very good. I don't think I should be doing double the amount of time for a C subject as a B subject. I don't think 30 hours is enough for maths or physics. So I'm going to increase that to 1.5. And I'm going to increase that to 1.5. I'm going to decrease PE. I don't think I need 80 hours to study PE. Down to 2.5, okay? But even then, 70 hours for PE and 42 hours for maths and physics doesn't sound great. So I think we need a decent baseline. I'm going to bump these up to 1.7, bring this down to 2.3. So I'm sure I heard somewhere that having your phone on and nearby when you're studying is really going to melt into your study time. It's going to distract you. You're going to be jumping on it every 5 or 10 minutes. That's obviously no good, is it? So in my day, back in the 90s, we didn't have phones. Okay, yes, we did have phones in the 90s. We didn't use smoke signals or semaphores or, telegram or telegraphs or anything like that. We did have phones, but they were connected to the wall and you could only call people on them. What I meant, of course, was we didn't have smartphones. That's what I meant, obviously. What I used to do was I'd get out of the house. I wouldn't study at home, I'd study in the library. In our library, we had some nice big tables surrounded by books, nice and quiet, peaceful, no toilet. But there was a toilet downstairs. And I worked for an hour, I took a break, walked around, came back, worked for another hour, took a break, walked around, and so on. Went for lunch, went to the toilet, came back, and repeated the process. What you, as a young person in the 21st century, have to struggle with is constant distractions from phones and potential dopamine addiction. So it might it might be a good idea to take a day off your phone before starting all of this studying, to level out your brain a little bit. Take a day off your phone. Just leave it at home. Go out, nature. Go for walks. Spend time with friends. Watch movies. Leave your phone alone. And then when you are studying, switch your phone off and put it in your bag. Find a quiet place where you can focus. Study by yourself. Study with friends. Do past papers. Especially the closer you get to your exam time, the more past papers you want to be doing. Anytime you learn from a mistake that you made in a past paper, even though the chance that the exact question will come up again is quite low, you need to prepare for everything. Okay, it might come up again, or a similar question might come up again. Analyze your weak points and celebrate your successes. Do past papers in exam-style conditions with no music, just you, no phone. I would print it out rather than have it on a laptop as well if you can. What I found really useful was in physics, and they have part 1 and part 2 papers. Part 1 is multiple choice, and they have a lot of part 1 walkthrough videos. What I would do is I'd sit on my hammock with my laptop on my lap, and a bit of paper and a calculator. And I wouldn't even open a past paper document. I'd just go to 2015 higher physics paper, walk through paper 1 video, and I would watch that because they read the question first. You can pause it before they go through the answer. You've got your bit of paper, you've got your calculator, just work through it. And if you get it right, then you get it right. And if you get it wrong, then you learn from it. And then you can start writing things on flashcards, which will also help you. I've done a flashcard video already. Don't give up on exercise to focus on studying, right? You need to keep doing exercise to keep your brain fresh, to keep your stress levels low. You also need to eat healthily and look after yourself. Just think of those e-sport players who have personal coaches to make sure that they sleep well, and they eat well, and they spend 8 hours a day playing games. You have to spend also some time out in the fresh air and sunlight. If you're nervous, just think of it this way. You've got a multiple choice quiz, right? So even the law of probability will say that you should at least get 1 in 5, even by guessing. Just if you just choose them all A's, you should at least get 1 in 5 out of that. What's that? 20%, right? So you're pretty much guaranteed 20% in the multiple choice. Okay, and then if you go into an exam with a positive mental attitude, I can do this kind of attitude, then you also get another 10% on top of that. So that's 30%. Okay, that's 30% for a multiple choice exam. Wow, just by turning up and ticking boxes and being positive. Okay, now that's the worst case scenario. Obviously, read the question carefully. Okay, watch out for traps. If you come up against a question that you don't know, it's difficult, come back to it later. Give your subconscious a chance to digest it as you do the other ones. So there's going to be questions which are easy, medium, and hard. Okay, and these are to separate the A students, the B students, and the C students, and the D students. Go through the exam, get all the easy ones done first. Okay, the last thing you want to do is spend too much time on a hard question and then run out of time for all the easy questions that might be later on in the exam. And then come back and do the medium questions. Now you've had a chance to think about it. Medium questions, medium questions. Leave the hard questions till later to give yourself a chance to ponder them. Don't leave any blank spaces, okay? At least guess, at least write something. Don't score anything out unless you replace it with something else. I've marked a few prelims where people wrote the right answer and then they scored it out and then they just left it. Why did they score it out? They could have got those points. In physics especially, remember, write your formula, put in your substitution, and then answer with units. Also, it really helps to write down what you know. It's especially with SUVAT equations. Like, what do we know? We know the acceleration, we know the starting speed, we know the time. What do we want to know? What do we not know? And then you can look at that and figure out which formula to use. The formulas in the relationship sheet should be in order of the questions. All right, so if you're going down, if you use that formula and that formula and that formula, you're not sure which formula to use for this question, it must be somewhere around there. Not too far ahead, not too far, not back at the start. Draw little sketches to try and get your head around what is happening in the question. You really need to understand and visualize what's happening in the question. Rockets are good ones. Any objects which are moving, accelerating, have forces on them. These are all very important. At the end of your exam, keep an eye on the time. You need to go through it all again and double check that you agree with your answers, that you agree with your own answers, because you might have typed something wrong into a calculator. Look at your answer and think, does that make sense? For example, pressure and volume. If you increase the volume of a container, what should happen? The pressure should go down, right? If you're shrinking or compressing the gas, what should happen? The pressure should increase. Okay, there's often things like, if you double the volume, you would half the pressure. If you half the volume, you would double the pressure, things like that. But be careful, that doesn't work for things like irradiance, where it's a 1 over d squared law. There's rules of thumb, like with multiple choice questions, you can save time. For example, resistors in parallel. Resistors in parallel, if both resistors are the same, like 10 ohms and 10 ohms, then the total resistance is going to be a half of one of them. If there's 3 resistors in parallel, and they're all the same, like 9 ohms, 9 ohms, 9 ohms, then the total resistance would be a third of all of those, so 3 ohms. After an exam, let it go. Okay, do not dwell on it, do not chew it. just let it go. You've done an exam, well done. Take some time off as a reward. Focus on the next one. All right, you've got these these study days. You have to look ahead. Okay, you've probably done better than you think. Just reward yourself and take it easy. Good luck with your studying. Good luck with your exams. The hardest part is starting to study. Once you've started studying, it's easier to continue studying. Okay, it's the same with pushing a heavy object. Once you've got it moving, it's easier to keep it going. So start early in the morning. Use your imagination to find ways to motivate yourself, to reward yourself, to do anything to keep going. Never give up. Rest, but don't give up. And that's it. Good luck, and I'll see you on the other side. Bye. In my day, back in the 90s, we didn't have phones. We didn't have phones. We didn't have phones.